Hello, hello. Tell me if you can hear me. Anyone's out there? All right. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. This is Pamela, and you are watching Pam Entertainment TV, where we review movies, television series, and incidents in pop culture just to see how those incidents may or may not affect our lives. Listen, as you enter, those of you all that are entering, please hit that like button. That helps with my engagement. And please engage me down in the comments. Also, if you are inclined, please subscribe to my channel. Once you subscribe to my channel, you'll be open to a plethora of movies, television series that I have reviewed, and also all of my pop culture chats. All right, people. We are not going to be here long, but I did promise you that we were going to go over the first day of trial for Mr. Jonathan Majors. Okay. There was a lot of stuff going on, a lot of stuff going on. And if you were like me, you were at work and you couldn't go through clicking and refreshing the page. So I put a call out like whoever is reviewing or in the courtroom, if there's a reporter in there, please let me know who it is, who it is. And I found one. She's from Vulture. She writes for Vulture. Her name is Victoria Bikempis. I hope I said her name right. I don't want to butcher them. I don't want to butcher that name at all. How you doing? So glad that you come to my channel. Please make sure you hit that like button as you in here. Hit that like button as you all come on in here. But I'm going to start. I'm not going to be on here long. I'm just going to go over the highlights. Uh, we'll go over some of her tweets. We'll also go over the report from Deadline to get a clearer picture of what went on today. So we're going to do that first. Again, as you come in, make sure you hit that like button, hit that like button, hit that like button. All right, people. Woo, child. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. Now, I'm going to do the tweets last, but I do want to get into some of these articles. They do have some information that we would want to be able to go over. I will say today, it seemed this morning, he came to court. He had his lawyer, and shout out to the lawyer with her little blue jacket, looking like a little Eskimo. She is in her own fashion world, and I do absolutely positively love it. Let me share my screen. Let me share my screen. Here we go. So we're going to go over the deadline report. Hello, unapologetic. Hello, Chillmonger. And y'all, if y'all are not following Chillmonger, please go follow him on his page. He's going to do an overview this evening, and I'm going to be over there on his page as well. So make sure you all are following him. Join his page. He's got, if you are a comic book MCU fan, he comes up, he has a whole plethora of information about that. So you all go over there and check him out. I'm a casual fan, but I do learn for a lot of information from watching his channel. All right, people. Again, as you come in, hit that like button, hit that like button. So let's look at this deadline report. It says Jonathan Majors' domestic violence trial ends first day with no jury seated, no ruling on the sealed evidence, and then there's an update. The Business Insider has headline says Marvel actor Jonathan Majors wins fight to keep potentially reputation damaging information hidden from the public ahead of his domestic violence trial. And the last one, which was the Messenger, let me go back up. What was their headlines? Uh, Jonathan Majors carries Bible, holds hands with Megan Good at domestic violence trial. So you could just see the little differences of the headline. So I wanted to do deadlines first. And it says after a day spent with lawyers fighting over what can and cannot be made public in the Jonathan Majors domestic violence trial, the Loki star got his first look Wednesday afternoon, potential New York jurors who will decide his guilt or innocence. So, why is that important? We know why it's important, y'all. Because who they seat for the jury is who's going to help you be able to get in and get out. So, when they were talking about sealing prejudicial evidence, I am not sure all of what that is. There's been rumors that, again, this is the evidence that the prosecution has brought forth. There have been rumors that previous victims have come in and they have given statements. There are rumors that it may be some information in regards to not any criminal activity, but some conduct activity. There's a whole lot of rumors what it is. However, the judge looked at it and ruled that he was not going to allow that evidence to be put out into the public prior to the seating of the jury. So that is a kind of win for him. Uh, it is kind of telling what that evidence is, but whatever it is, they're not wanting to go into that evidence as of yet, but it's going to come out after they seat their jury. All right. I wanted to go over a little bit about that jury selection, and that starts tomorrow. What type of jury would the prosecution and what type of jury would the defense be looking for? And those are interesting questions. If we look at the prosecution, they want to be able to sit people who, number one, are against any and all violence. They would look to seat white women, younger white women, Democratic leaning white women. They're looking to seat uh, younger uh, black women, Democratic or Republican leaning. They would also be looking to seat older white males. Now, why do I say that? Each one of those demographics has a different situation going on. You have the younger white females that are going to be all about the Me Too movement. They're going to all be all about no domestic violence. Put that man in jail. You're going to have younger black women that may have an issue with the interracial dating, and that would probably be the same demographic of older white men that they're looking to see that they may have an issue with interracial dating. What types of jury would the defense be looking at? Now, these all of this stuff that I'm talking about is Pam Entertainment TV's opinion. If you were looking for who that Jonathan Majors is going to seat for his jury, number one, it's going to be older black women. Number two, it's going to be younger, well, white males between the ages of 35 and 45 that are more Democratic leaning, and older middle-aged white women, and older black women, particularly older black women between the ages of 50 and 70. They tend to be more objective, looking at all the evidence and making an objective opinion. They understand issues with the police. They understand all of those different things. Those would be that segment for him would be a better segment for him. Uh, Middle-aged white women, again, they are more lean, and if they're leaning on the Democratic side, and he take his chances with white men. Black men, if he can seat a good amount of black men on his jury, they would be more willing, more apt to look at what's going on. They would key in on the police. They would key in on the prosecution and how fair they're handling this trial. They'll also key in and be able to empathize with the fact that they are black men and they know that they have been going through this system. Anything and everything they do is criminalized. So if they can seat those people for him, he may have a good chance of winning this case. All right. Make sure you support this channel. Make sure you support this channel. So let's get back to the deadline. However, Majors and his defense team and prosecutors won't know until at least Thursday which of the 40 candidates, so they've got 40 candidates lined up, which of the 40 candidates, lost my place, y'all, will make up the panel. Once chosen, the jury of six and at least one alternate will weigh in the evidence in the actor's misdemeanor criminal trial for assault and harassment in New York City against then girlfriend in late March. Long insisting in his innocence, Major faces up to a year behind bars or if convicted. So that's interesting to me because usually you sit a jury of 12, but they're talking about sitting six with one alternate. So that's interesting. That's quite interesting because usually it's a jury of 12. Now I saw somewhere in we're going to go over Victoria Bekemp's tweets that they were talking about the space in this courtroom. So it could be that they don't have the space for them. And it could be that both the prosecution and the defense are okay with this setup like this. But it's interesting. Where I'm from, where I live, it's always 12, regardless of space. At the end of the first day of the much delayed trial in New York Wednesday, Majors exited the court via a side door. He made no comments to media or others on his way out. After a closed hearing today, because that's interesting, because today Judge Gaffey closed that hearing because he was hearing a lot of information going on, and that is in these tweets. But I want to finish this out. After a closed hearing that lasted nearly an hour to discuss potentially prejudicial and inflammatory evidence that remains under seal, Judge Michael Gaffey allowed spectators back into his Manhattan courtroom towards the end of the day. The judge told the assembled that he will rule on Thursday morning on the defense team motion to keep the evidence out of the trial record entirely. Judge Gaffey then welcomed in the 40 jury pool members, swore them in, told them the high profile defendant's name, and instructed them not to discuss the case, research the case online, or watch any media coverage. You can't Google, FaceTime, Twitter, which I guess is now called X, he quipped. You can't do any internet searches, social media searches, absolutely nothing you can think of that I haven't mentioned. You cannot do. The judge sent the prospective jurors home to return back at 10 a.m. on Thursday to be screened for the jury pool. Everyone in the courtroom rose. Major stood with his hands clasped, watching the jury exit. With that, Judge Gaffrey clarified a ruling that during voir dire, the questioning of potential jurors by lawyers for both sides, neither the prosecution nor the defense can refer to a Major's accuser, Grace Jabari, or to Majors himself as a victim. Nobody's the victim on voir dire, the judge proclaimed. All right. So we got that out of the way. We got that out of the way. What are y'all thinking about this? And it just goes by bang about the stuff. But I want to get over here. Let me stop sharing my screen. I want to get over here to these tweets, child. Give me one good minute. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. So this is by Victoria Bekempis. And she talks about, again, good morning, about the domestic violence trial. It's about to start this AM. She was a little perturbed right here because she said the aggro exertion of authority over press has started. I actually said this kind of energy isn't necessary. TK, crystals, anyone? I don't. We're just going to keep reading. We're not going to bust open the courtroom. This is a jury selection in a misdemeanor trial with an actor who wasn't a household name. Well, damn. Also, turned up armed men being like, respect my authority at a DV trial is a look, I suppose. Sometimes you just want to tell people the shield isn't on TV anymore, so now no audition to practice for anyway. And Jonathan Majors has entered the courtroom. He's wearing a large lens tortoiseshell glasses, a black winter coat, a gray suit. She goes on. Those are yada, yada, yada. She talks about the double-breasted suit. She talks about him carrying a Bible, small notebook, and ceramic cup. And he's done that repeatedly. So we understand that. She talks about Jonathan coming in with Megan Good. And Megan Good and his team left the courtroom for about 15 minutes. Everything is expected to start at 10. He re-entered. He and Good are seated in the front row. She's got an arm around him. And for me, as far as visual, that is a good visual that he has someone that's in his corner. I would hope, and I don't know if they have done this or not. I don't know where his family is, his immediate family. Now, people will say, well, maybe he doesn't want them in here. But if you're looking at that and you're looking at the jury does like to look out. If anybody has sat on a jury before, you do like to look out to see who is standing beside this person, because that gives you just a visual, like, okay, this is a well-rounded person, this is caught up in something or anything like that. That is important, in my opinion, as someone who sat on several juries. That's important to see who that person has with them, uh standing beside him. Megan is good, but it would be so much better if we see in one of these days, because at first, pundits were saying that this trial was going to last 3 weeks. Some people thought it was 6 weeks, but I think it's a misdemeanor trial, so it may not last any more than 5 or 6 days. I think they said they have anywhere from 20 witnesses to go over, so it may not last any more than 5 or 6 days. The messenger wants clicks. Okay, okay. I'm all for the jurors making the right decision based on the facts of this case. Exactly. Exactly. But we have to be aware too, just like anybody, we all carry a bias within inside of us. We all carry a bias. And those things are important. That's what they're going to be going through in voir dire. They're going to be asking them specific questions on pretty much where their biases land. And whose ever bias aligns with whatever, they're going to be the ones that they're going to choose. If they don't, those are going to be the ones that they're going to strike. I didn't know that. 6 instead of 12. Interesting. It is interesting. Like I said before, it's usually a jury of 12 of your peers. I'm going to get through here on in her tweets, because she did talk about the fact that space was an issue. So I don't know exactly what's going on with New York court systems in regards to space, but I know she mentioned very briefly about the space, how much people were going to be in there. So it could be something like that. I don't know. Jonathan needs white friends. Well, that's interesting enough, because apparently he had a lot of white friends at one point. And as soon as this happened, a lot of people bailed. So I don't know exactly what happened or whatever. Anybody should, it should be more than just Megan. I'll let you all know that. It should be more than just Megan sitting in that courtroom. It should be a whole lot of people, because optic wise, and let's just be honest about this, optic wise, it looks kind of fun, even though she is a sports system. Looks kind of funny, like you jump from this woman to this woman that quickly. Optically, it may look a little different, but it's still good that he has someone in his corner, someone that the jury can look and say, okay, this person is being there for him. But it would look so much better if he had at least 3 or 4 people sitting in the courtroom with him. He don't need much, 2, 3 people. So, because we all understand that people work and everything like that, but it would look better if he had like 2 or 3 people in there. Jonathan Majors entered the well and has taken his seat at the defense table. We're going to get into the important thing right now. There's evidence paperwork under seal. Major wants to keep it sealed. Prosecution takes no position, which is interesting. Papers under seal right now. Media lawyer soon going to be heard on unsealing. So there is an attorney for the media that is wanting this paperwork unsealed. And why is that interesting? Because here in the United States, there's freedom of the press. And the press has the right to be able to view and see all of these things so they can report it honestly and faithfully. And so the press wants to have all the information they can do so they can write a good story and relay it to the people. So the press is wanting to have access to all the evidence. Once they want access to the evidence, they want whatever's sealed to be unsealed. And so the judge, they were going back and forth with that. Jonathan Major's team in arguing the sealing has previously said this is a highly sensationalized case where the media, both nationally and internationally, it has inordinate interest in case. I think I butchered that word. One of Jonathan Major's lawyers says the defense recognizes First Amendment, but with release of uh, matters at issue. This is obviously squarely pitted against Mr. Major's Sixth Amendment rights to a fair trial. Now, that's important because whatever this evidence is, it can't be released if it's going to cause his Sixth Amendment rights to be impugned upon. Because everybody, you have a right to a speedy trial, you have a right to be uh, judged by your peers, and anything that's going to interfere with that evidence is not going to go. And I'm wondering if it has to do with previous actions or anything like that. Because I think Chill said it once in a video that I watched of his that if the defense was smart, they will focus on March 25th. Anything else besides March 25th is irrelevant. Go through that case and keep everybody focused on what happened on March 25th, how things unfolded on March 25th. I know the prosecution wants to show pattern of behaviors. And so they're wanting to pull all of this information from the past. However, the only thing that we knew anything about was there was this 40. You remember we had those 40 people that did the Rolling Stone article, did the Rolling Stones thing, and you had 40 anonymous people talking about things that happened, and the actual people who it happened to were not interviewed in that article, and everybody and their grandmother remained anonymous except for one of Jonathan Major's witnesses. They may be talking about that. I don't know if they're going back to those tweets. You remember those tweets at the beginning between A.V. Allen and the Tim guy? I don't know if they're going back to that. I don't know if there was some altercation that he was in back in graduate school that they're trying to portray him as something. I don't know any of all of that. All I know is what happened on March 25th. And if there's evidence in regards to that, and there's no police report, there's no, you know, uh, the school or wherever didn't file any paperwork or anything like that, that could be deemed to be prejudicial. Now, I do remember they were talking about, but Jonathan Majors mentioned that when he filed his charges against his accuser, that uh, things were escalating about 6 months ago, and he did mention that they had squabbled or something happened over in London. But remember, he mentioned that in his filing because if you remember when they were going, when the insider went over that paperwork, it said something like that: has this person been increasingly jealous of you? He said yes. Do you think that this person will harm you or your children? He said yes. They mentioned all of these different things. Now that was back in June, I believe. So we knew that something happened, but the prosecution says they found a police report in London about it, and they were looking at medical records. Now, whose medical records, I do not know. But the police in London said unequivocally, there is an open case. We are investigating. We don't mention people until we are sure that whoever it is that we're going to accuse is the person that we deem to have happened from the evidence and from the investigation that we've done. So the prosecution could be jumping the gun and could be opening stuff that ooh, we don't know what's going on. And I don't know if the defense wants any of that information to come out. She may have mentioned that it's Major's team that is fighting against this to be open, and she says, well, Major's team was the one that litigated it in the press, and she talked about Priya Chaudhry, which is true. She made sure that a lot of the evidence that was Jonathan Majors leaning in the press was in the press, which gave a lot of us pause because we were like, well, these things don't make sense. Why wasn't this dropped, or why any of these things were dropped if this happened? So there, I guess she's trying to say that it seems kind of funny that now they want the stuff to be closed. But again, Priya Chaudhry is a defense lawyer. She's going to do everything in her power to defend her client, even if it sounds contradictory to what she's done and when she's done it. She also makes a very important point that we don't even know what the under seal materials are about, which is problematic in itself. And I'm a little confused about that. Who has these documents and under seal, and how come nobody? I mean, absolutely positively, it seems like nobody knows what it is unless she's referring to the press. The judge asked Bolger about the fact that she reps some press, but not all in the courtroom. Therein lies the problem, intimating that people she doesn't represent cannot be trusted. So they go back and forth, back and forth. Now remember, I'm not gonna read all of these tweets. It's just she's going in and out. She uses some very flowery language, and so she's my girl for that. You know, every now and then dropping a little f bomb. Hold on, I want to get to here. It is. And we're getting an update on scheduling during housekeeping discussions per Chaudhry. The people have noted that they expect to call at least 14 witnesses and that their case will take at least 6 days. Given that, and given the defendant also intends to put on a case, we are concerned that we will need more time than two alternates, and the court staff has advised that in this courtroom, we could not have more than two. We are now talking potentially weeks for a misdemeanor DV trial. And that's what I was talking about, the space. They were pretty much trying to say that there ain't enough space in there for them to have all them folks in there. Plus, it's a misdemeanor trial. The judge has taken the bench. We expect to hear his decision. Breaking, the judge craps on 1A. The court has considered the extensive press coverage of this case and believes that the press would report on this evidence whether or not it's submitted at trial. The court concludes that sealing the hearing and documents related to the single pretrial issue is the only way to prevent tainting the jury pool. On to the next thing. Prosecutors want to keep Jonathan Major's accuser's arrest from being mentioned in court. They have declined to prosecute and told cops this even before her arrest. His lawyer said, "We do intend to bring out this information, so stand by." The judge seemed skeptical about situations surrounding Major's accuser's arrest, which came months after he was arrested. Did this only come about because of the high profile nature of this case? And if this was an indigent, everyday New Yorker, would this have happened? The judge couldn't decide whether arrest can be mentioned. Did did decide pros the prosecutor couldn't call accuser can be referenced as referred to a victim as during the jury selection, and that's what Deadline said, that everyone couldn't be referred as a victim during voir dire. After an hour-long proceeding, it was closed to the press. The court is resuming in a few. Prospective jurors have entered the courtroom. Judge Gaffney is letting them in. He sent everybody home. And this is a video of Jonathan Majors leaving the courtroom. Looks like he got a haircut too. Looks good. And those his bodyguard and all that. He's going in. He had a little thumbs up. And so that's basically it. That is basically it. Let me see what you all are saying out here. Let me get back, because that's all I'm sharing right now. Again, I'm just going to update you on the information as proceeding. So far, it looks like Victoria. There's also another young lady who works for People magazine who is updating everybody for this court hearing. Let me see what time we are. I want to know what the sealed evidence is, but I'm all for not being able to seal it if it benefits him. But I am nosy. Child. And it could be as extensive as whatever it is, the extensive amount, if you want to say that he's putting hands, feet, and toes on somebody, or it could be just as simple as there is some information in regards to his child, information in regards to his family, information in regards to that he doesn't want to get out. Addresses, locations, or whatever. We don't know what it is, but it can run the doggone gamut with that. Okay. Okay. Even what happened before 11 a.m. is irrelevant. 11 a.m. when? You talking about on the 25th? Because I would think that would be relevant because of the fact that I am interested to know. Here is my confusion. We see video because the prosecution changed the goalpost because it was what happened in the car. And then it was like, no, not what happened at that time. It's happening. You remember the video that came out earlier that a lot of us had put on social media of her talking to the three individuals? Their goalpost has moved to what happened right after that. That's where their goalpost has moved. So apparently there was something that happened in the street. Now, according to Chaudhry, that he did not touch her, he did not hit her, he did not do anything. What he did was he picked her up and put her in the car. She's saying that she received those injuries at that point. So we see a video before that incident, we see a video after that incident that she did not look hurt. And we see a video with her going back home into the apartment where she did not appear injured. And so that tells me so something happened between 3 o'clock in that morning to 11 o'clock that evening. Now these injuries are there. What happened? She did not have the cut going up the elevator because we were able to see her right side. She did not have the cut when she was standing there with Mr. White Hat, Mr. I'm going to beat down Jonathan Majors, but his girlfriend had to tell him to chill. We did not see any injuries there. She did not give any indication that she had any injuries, but she was talking about how distraught she was that she found out that her boyfriend, Jonathan Majors, was texting another woman, and she made that very clear about what was being texted. So we have that information. So uh, I'm not sure exactly uh, where the prosecution is going to go. But like I said, they got a 115-page document that we are just not clear about what they have. So we don't. I don't know. But I think from 12 a.m. March 25th to the time he got arrested or later on that day, I think that's all relevant. And I think if the defense was smart, they would keep everybody focused on that day and what happened, because there was a long period of time that Mr. Majors was not with this woman. If I'm not mistaken, the prosecution didn't want to bring up her arrest, but they see nothing wrong with bringing up something that happened a year ago in another country. Weird. Again, the prosecution's job, they have the burden of proof. So they want any and every evidence that they can have to be able to convict Jonathan Majors. And the defense's job is to make sure that their client does not see any jail time. He does not go to jail for nothing. Hey, Flavio. Priya has been transparent, the prosecution not. She has pretty much, and I don't know if that has helped her or hindered her, but she has pretty much laid out what her case is, and she has been consistent or not. I don't know if that helps her or hinders her, again, because we don't know what the prosecution is. The prosecution is going to bring the whole kitchen sink out here. That's what they're going to do. So we don't know exactly what they're going to put out there to muddy the waters, because they're going to throw the whole kitchen sink at them. They just going to throw it all at them with dishes and dirty water and everything. Priya and Kelly had a heated argument today about the October 25th arrest. You're talking about uh, Miss Jabari's arrest when she was arrested? Okay. I would have loved to have been in the courtroom. Flavio, you ain't in the courtroom. Can you get there? Or are you still overseas? Because we'd get all the information in. Crazy stuff, yeah. I just wanted to know how she goes from texting a friend acknowledging that she didn't remember how she got the bruises, but remembered beating on him till he caused the bruises. That's interesting. I almost forgot about that, because there was two friends that made mention about this, that she, throughout that day, that she didn't have a memory about what was going on. But quiet as kept and loud as I'm about to say it, she was all right and she was all fine until the middle of April, when it was revealed that he was dating someone else. And that's if you let me tell it. If you let me tell it. Someone said once the gravy train ran out, she made different arrangements and stuff like that. I don't know. But that was pretty much today's trial. Tomorrow, voir dire is going to start. They're going to be questioning these jurors. They're going to be compiling all the information that they need so that they can have them a good old case. Jury selection starts tomorrow. What are y'all thinking about what's going on so far? Don't want to keep y'all long. I just wanted to kind of go over the information that I have. I have been following so far Victoria has had the most up to date tweets that were going out today about this case. Like I said, I know there's another young lady. I can't think of her name, but I know she works with People magazine. She's their court reporter, so she may have some great tweets and stuff like that. So what are y'all thinking about this? Is please hit this like button. Please hit this like button. There are 12 of you all in here. I need 12 likes from each and every one of you. I also want you to tell people that I'm over here making these videos. So you tell a friend, you tell a kin, you tell your coworker, you tell that heifer that you can't even stand that I'm over here making these videos. So I will be back tomorrow. It may not be live, but I will be back tomorrow to give my opinion and information about what's going on. Again, I saw something. I saw money figures. I saw money figures. But you know what? And this is all seriously. That's a good question. $39,000? And you mean to tell me that the prosecution is not going to, at least for the theft? $39,000 is a daggone felony in the state of New York. If she's got this man $39,000 Rolex somewhere, even if you decided that you were not going to prosecute her on what you believe happened out here on the street, where hands, knees, feet, and toes and all kinds of stuff is alleged to have been thrown. This right here, $39,000 for a Rolex, that at the least should be talked about. Because basically what the prosecution is saying is, yeah, yeah. Mm. Thank you. I knew Emily Palmer. Yes, she's reporting for People. She's their court reporter. She had some interesting tweets coming out here. Thank Flavia. Thank you so much. All right, people. That's all I got. That is all I got. We will be back here for day two. I don't know if it's going to be alive or not, but I will be back here for day two. And I hope you all come back and join me. Again, tell a friend, tell a kin, tell that coworker, tell that helper that you can't stand, that I'm over here making these videos. And as always, people, in my Kyle Barker voice, bye bye.